Why do some wounds seem to never heal, no matter how much time passes? Have you ever found yourself endlessly haunted by the same faces, the same memories, or the same regrets, no matter how hard you try to move on? It's as if your emotional scars just won't fade. What if the key to ending that cycle isn't about what happened to you, but about how you're still holding on to it? This is not just a battle with the past, it's a battle within yourself. Carl Jung once said, emotional suffering is not caused by pain itself, but by our resistance to it. So, why do we keep suffering over the same old wounds? Why does it feel like we're caught in a loop that we can't escape? The answer lies in understanding how we relate to the pain we feel. Your resistance to the pain might be the very thing keeping you stuck. Today, we're going to explore a powerful spiritual principle that could break that cycle for good. If you're tired of replaying the same emotional wounds, then stick with me. This could be the turning point where your inner healing truly begins. Once you grasp where suffering really comes from, you'll realize that freedom was never beyond your reach. It's been hidden beneath your resistance all along. The transformation doesn't start with changing your circumstances, it begins by changing the way you see them. It's time to let go of the past and open the door to healing. Now, let's dive into it. Suffering doesn't come from what happens, it comes from our resistance to what happens. Let me ask you this. What if the pain you're feeling right now isn't actually the problem? What if your refusal to feel that pain is what's really keeping you in torment? Imagine a wound. When it first happens, there's an initial sting, a rush of pain. But the true suffering doesn't come from the injury itself. It comes when your mind starts resisting reality, when you say to yourself, this shouldn't have happened. I didn't deserve this. I can't live with this. These thoughts, though they seem rational, only layer more agony on top of the original wound. Resistance is like an energy loop. It keeps you stuck in a cycle, fighting with reality, and in that internal war, healing is impossible. Here's the paradox. Freedom begins with surrender, not to the pain itself, but to the fact that it already happened. Acceptance doesn't mean you approve of it, but you stop trying to rewrite history in your mind. You stop fighting the past and make room for healing to begin. Once we understand that resistance fuels our suffering, it's time to go deeper. Why do we keep revisiting the same wounds over and over? This is where the unconscious mind comes into play. Jung taught that much of the emotional turmoil we experience isn't consciously chosen by us, it's actually replayed by our unconscious mind. Our emotional wounds, especially from childhood, become the blueprints that our psyche follows again and again, like a cycle we can't break free from. If you were neglected, abandoned, or humiliated in the past, your unconscious mind might actually believe that this kind of suffering is normal. You might then seek out relationships in adulthood that recreate these old, painful dynamics. You might unconsciously believe, I am unworthy. People always leave. Love equals pain. This isn't self destruction, it's an attempt to make sense of what happened, to find coherence in the chaos. The unconscious prefers predictable suffering over the unfamiliar peace of healing. But here's the thing. As long as you remain unaware of these patterns, they'll continue to control your choices, your relationships, your self-image. Recognizing these unconscious patterns isn't just emotional work, it's a path to spiritual freedom. You begin to interrupt cycles that may have been passed down through generations, and you open the door to a new way of living. But this isn't where it ends. The ego plays a crucial role in keeping us stuck. The ego thrives on pain. It loves stories, especially the ones where you're the victim, the one who was hurt. The ego feeds on this identity. I am the one who was betrayed. I'm the one who always suffers. These stories, though painful, give us a sense of self, a way to define who we are. The ego convinces us that holding on to our pain is a form of strength, but in reality, it's a form of imprisonment. Once you understand that the ego is merely a fragment of who you really are, you can begin to see beyond it. Healing can't happen until you stop feeding the ego's need for pain. You have to stop replaying your suffering in your mind like a script. Become the observer. Watch the ego's voice and recognize it for what it is, not the truth, just a habit. This shift in perspective is the first step toward real freedom. But even when you start to see the ego clearly, there's still another layer of healing to uncover. The last step, stop running from the pain and turn inward, fully. But before we go further, let me ask, are you ready to break free from this endless cycle? If this message resonates with you, don't forget to share it with others who might benefit. And if you'd like to support our channel, consider leaving a donation by clicking the thanks button below. Now, let's continue to uncover the deeper layers of healing together. Continuing from where we left off, the transformation begins when we stop running from our pain and finally face it. Now, let's dive deeper into the heart of healing. You can't heal what you continue to resist. Yet, from an early age, we're conditioned to do exactly that. We're taught to suppress our feelings, to be strong, to stay busy, to just move on. But the truth is, unprocessed pain never truly disappears. It doesn't vanish when we shove it down. Instead, it becomes what Carl Jung referred to as shadow material, parts of our psyche we refuse to confront. And while we think we're keeping it under control, it silently begins to shape our lives from the shadows. Suppressed emotions don't just vanish into thin air. They leak out in ways we might not even realize, through anxiety, irritability, addictions, and self-sabotage. They distort our perception of the world and erupt in moments we can't always understand. Healing begins when we stop running from our pain and start sitting with it. But don't mistake this for wallowing in it. This isn't about sinking into self-pity. It's about witnessing our pain with presence and compassion. When we approach pain with curiosity instead of fear, something amazing happens. It softens. Pain doesn't want to destroy you. It wants to be acknowledged, understood, and integrated. When you can sit with pain, saying, yes, I feel this, without judgment or urgency, that's when the energy starts to move. Emotional pain isn't permanent, but our resistance to it makes it feel like it is. Think about it: anxiety, insomnia, fatigue. How often do these things have emotional roots that we haven't fully acknowledged? The cure isn't escaping from them, it's becoming aware of them. Presence is the path back to wholeness. If you've made it this far, you're no longer just surviving, you're transforming. And transformation is what Jung called the alchemy of the soul. When pain is explored and integrated, it becomes your greatest spiritual strength. The most emotionally intelligent and compassionate people you know didn't escape their pain. They transmuted it. They allowed it to shape their values, deepen their empathy, and awaken their purpose. Your pain carries a message. It's not just about what happened to you, but about who you are meant to become. Every wound is a mirror, and every heartbreak is an invitation to grow. The question isn't, how do I get over this? The real question is, what is this here to teach me? When you stop trying to erase your past and start mining it for wisdom, you begin the shift from victim to alchemist. Integration is the final step, not to forget the past, but to weave it into a wiser, more powerful self. Your pain is not your identity. You are the one who has the power to transform it into light. And in doing so, you unlock the spiritual key that Carl Jung dedicated his life to revealing. Suffering doesn't come from pain itself, comes from resisting pain. But when you face it, when you become conscious of it, when you let it move through you, that's when pain becomes evolution. Now, you're at a crossroads. You can continue repeating the same unconscious patterns, or you can wake up, take responsibility, and begin rewriting your inner narrative. If you're ready to reclaim your power and turn your pain into purpose, I encourage you to comment below. I transform my pain into power. And if this video has resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to the Daily Stoic. We're here to guide you on your path of growth, healing, and transformation. We publish new videos every day to help you on your journey towards psychological truth and spiritual awakening. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss what's next, because your pain was never the end of your story. It was simply the beginning of your transformation. Stay with us, and let's continue this journey together.